Okay, so let us begin. So last time what we do is we talk about Gaussian elimination, and then we talk about few different types of pivotings. Right? So we talk about partial pivoting, and then scale partial pivoting, and then we talk about complete pivoting as well, but we did not do complete pivoting. Mm. So we talk about partial pivoting and scale partial pivoting as well, and we do pivoting to avoid uh, having divided by 0 or having divided by some term which is very small compared to the other terms in the corresponding columns, right? So that is why we do pivoting. So now what we are going to do is we are going to see that by using pivoting, what kind of approach we are going to do the LU factorization, right? So right? So by using Gaussian elimination, you know that we got a factorization A is equal to LU, right? But okay, so what we do is this is what we do in pivoting, right? So we eliminate, we interchange two rows before eliminating at a certain step, right? So right, so this is what happens when you implement pivoting, right? A cannot be LU anymore, right? Because you interchange rows. So it is going to be LU is going to be equal to A after doing the corresponding row operations, right? So this leads to, right? So this leads to a concept called PA is equal to LU, right? Where, right, so we have already seen what do we mean by permutation matrix, right? Permutation matrix is basically an identity matrix which underwent certain row interchanges, right? So we see example of permutation matrix, right? So here PA is equal to LU is the factorization you are going to get by using Gaussian elimination with partial pivoting or with pivoting, right? So in this case, P is a permutation matrix which goes over the certain row interchanges which happens in the process. So let me show you how this can be done in an example. Okay, so here is a matrix A, right? So A is 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 5. So you know that from A, right? Right, so when you do this row operation, R2 minus 2 times R1, you get R1 unchanged, right? So this will be 0, 0, 1. R3 minus R1, the 0, 1, 4. Okay, so now you see that here is the point. You cannot divide by this, right? So you have to interchange two rows. So what you do? You do R2, 3, right? So you interchange the rows. So this gives 1, 1, 1, right? 0, 1, 4, right? And then 0, 0, 1. Right? Because of this, you know this is your U, right? This is your U. And you can write your L, right? So that is going to be 1, 0, 0, right? This is 2, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Right? Because there is no more row evaluation, right? Elimination, so that this will be 0 and it is L. So now the point is you want to get what is P, right? Because LU is not equal to A, you know that. So you want to get P. So to get P, what you do is, right? So this is the important part here. The other two cases you already did, right? So you already know how to get L and U, right? So that is why I just write them directly, right? But this case, P is new here, right? To get P, right? So to get P, what you do is you apply row interchanges to the identity matrix in the order at which you apply the row interchanges in the system or in the elimination, right? So here you start with the identity matrix, right? 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. This is your identity matrix. So what you do is, whatever the row interchanges you apply in the elimination process, you apply that to R here, right? So I here. So this is the only row interchangement you apply. So you have to apply that here. So you do R23, right? So when you apply R23, you know that first row does not change, right? Second row is now the third row, so 0, 0, 1. Third row is second row, 0, 1, 0. So this is your P, right? So now you can verify that whether PA is equal to LU or not, right? So if you multiply L and U, right? So you can get L multiplied by U, so you get 1, 1, 1. Row into column is 2, 3, 2. This one is 3. Wait, there's something wrong. Okay, so you can verify that L times U is equal to this or not, right? So this is 0, 0, 1, and then 1, 1, minus 1 is 4. So in interchange, that is this. So L is 1, 2, 1. This one you don't eliminate. 0, 1, 0, 0. LU is equal to this time, this is 1. This time this is 1, this time this is 1. This time this is 2. And this is 2 plus 1 is 3. Right, so this time this is 2 plus 4 is 6. And this is 1. This is 1. And this is 2. There's something wrong. Okay, so this is how you do, and you get P is equal to PA is equal to LU, right? So double check the work. Maybe I might have done some mistake there, right? You can double check and see whether you get PA is equal to LU or not, right? So that is how you do the process, right? So that is what we do here, right? So let me see the multipliers. Two upon one, one upon one. Okay, so double check the work and see whether this one is not or not. Right, so but that is how you do get P when you apply PA is equal to LU. Right, so that is how you apply the method. Right, so right, so that's PA is equal to LU4. Right, so now because of this PA is equal to LU form, right, so we will see how you can solve the system of A is equal to B, right, so that you already see. So you can do the process here, right. So let me do one more example here. Okay, so let me do one more example of solving the system. Right, so PA is equal to LU. You can do the partial pivoting thing, right? Right, so let us say we were asked to do PA is equal to LU form, right? So let's say what we do, right? So this with partial pivoting. So this is an example of partial pivoting. So I will start with A, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? So in order to do the partial pivoting, right, you know that, right? So here you look for maximum of 1, 4, and 7, right? So because that is 7, so you first interchange the first and third rows. So that is 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Right, so you interchange the first two rows. And then what you do is you eliminate. Right, so what you do is you subtract R1 times 4 upon 7 from R2 and R1 times 1 upon 7 from R3. Right? So when you do that, you get the elimination done. So that turns out to be 7, 8, 9. This turned out to be 0, 0, 0. Right? And this 8, 32 upon 7 minus 5 minus 32 upon 7. So this is 3 upon 7. This one is 6 upon 7 and 19 upon 7. Right, so when you do the elimination, you get this, right? 7, 8, 9, 3 upon 7, 6 upon 7, 0, 6 upon 7, 19 upon 7. Right, so you get this. So now what you do is you try to pick the maximum, right, among these two. Every step after doing an elimination, you have to pick the pivot. So when you pick the pivot, you get 3 upon 7 and 6 upon 7. So that is clearly 6 upon 7. Right? So when you do that, you interchange R2 and R3. Right? So when you do interchange R2 and R3, you get first row unchanged 7, 8, 9, 0, 6 upon 7, 19 upon 7. This is 0, 3 upon 7, 6 upon 7. So this is after second step, you do a partial pivoting, right? So you pick the maximum among that and do the pivoting. Right? After doing the pivoting, you know that you have to do the elimination, right? So when you do the elimination, right? So what you do is, let me do this, R3 minus uh, 2. So 1/2 R. Right, so 1/2 R2. So when you do that, you get 7, 8, 9, 0, 6 upon 7, 19 upon 7. And then when you subtract, you get this is 0, 0. Right, so 19 upon 14 minus 6 upon 7. So you get 19 minus 19 upon 14 minus 12 upon 14. So minus 1 upon 7. Right, so this is your U. Now you can write L, which is 1, 0, 0. Lower triangular matrix, what are your, these things are 4 upon 7, 1 upon 7, 1, 0. This one is half. Right, so 1 upon 7. Yes. So right, so level element. Right. So here the point is this. Right. So what happened is, this is important. So before writing the L, let me show you what we have to do. Right. So now right. So this is what you do, right? So you have this, pick the maximum, find the pivot, right? So you interchange first, and then what you do is you get the values, right? And then, right, so you interchange. Right, so after first elimination, right, so this is where I made the mistake last in the example, so I'm just explaining it again, right? So here, after the first elimination, this is your L, right? So this is your first component in the second component in the first column, this is the third component, right? So this is your L after first elimination, right? So this part you did not do, right? So after this step, this is your L. But after that, you see that you are interchanging rows 2 and rows 3, right? So that is the important part. right? So after this, now you see you are doing this. You are interchanging R2 and R3, right? So that means you have to interchange L as well, right? So we have to do it for L as well, right? So then L becomes 100. This is this, right? So 1/7. Right? So you forgot this. The after first elimination, L is this, and then this part is a matrix, right? So you don't need to worry about that part, right? So then L becomes like this. Right? So L becomes like this, right? So this part does not change. Right? Only the first column is important, right? So whenever you apply the row interchangement to A, you may need to do the row interchangement for the first column of L, right? Because after first step you are doing this. So after first step you have to do the row interchangement for the first column, right? So then next step, after that you update the L, right? Right, so after that, we update the L again after next elimination. So this case, L is equal to 1, 1/7, 4/7, 0, 1, 1/2, 0, 0, 1. And so this is how you obtained L, right? So this is important, right? So not just like Gaussian elimination. In Gaussian elimination with pivoting, right? So you have to be careful with your L and P, right? U is okay. Always you will get this U, right? But when you get L and P, you have to be careful about this, right? So if you have whatever the row operation you do after second step, right? After the first evaluation, you have to do it for the first column of L, right? So same thing for the next column, next column, next column, right? So always you have to do this, right? So that is important here. And then P is this, right? So right. So now to get P, you start with I 101, 100, 010, 001. Right. So you see that first you interchange R1 and 3, right? On the first example, on first you do this 100, and after that you interchange row 2 and 3, right? After that you interchange row 2 and 3, so you get 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0. This is your P, right? So you get this, right? So this is important, especially this transformation you have in L is important in PA is equal to LU factorization. P is new for you, right? But that is easy because you just apply the row interchangements to an identity matrix in that order to get P, right? But important part is whatever the row interchangement you are doing, right? You have to do it on L as well, right? So in that corresponding column, you may have to do that as well, right? So I will write that as a remark here. Right, so whatever the row operations you perform, you may have to perform that in the strictly lower triangular part of L as well. Right, so that is very important here. Right. So now, right, so to solve Ax equal to B, you know that you have Pa is equal to Lg, right? So from this, you multiply by P, so you get Pax is equal to Pb, right? So you get Lux is equal to Pb, right? So set Ux is equal to C, so Lc is equal to Pb, right? So you still have two triangular systems, right? One is lower triangular system and one is upper triangular system. So first you have to say solve Lc is equal to Pb, and then you solve Ux is equal to D. So this is Lc, that is 1 0 0 1 upon 7 4 upon 7 1 1 upon 2 0 1. C is C1 C2 C3 is equal to P is this, right? So 0 0 1 1 0 0 0 1 0 times B is 1 2 3, right? So this is your system, right? So you can solve this. So if you multiply this, you know that this is actually equal to 3 2 3 1 2. Right. So if you multiply P with B, you get 3 1 2. Right. So first row multiplied by column is 3, second row multiplied by column is 1, and then the other one multiplied by this is 2. So you get 3 1 2. So you can solve this lower triangular system. Right. So you all know how to do this. Forward substitution method. So you can do that. Okay, so this gives C1 is equal to 3, right? So C2 is equal to what? 1 upon 7 minus 2 minus 1 upon 7, right? So 3 upon 7. So that turned out to be 4 upon 7, and C3 is equal to, you can simplify and you will get 0. And then you can write the upper triangular system. So that is 7, 8, 9, 0, 6 upon 7, 19 upon 7, 0, 0, minus 1 upon 7, of x1, x2, x3 is equal to 3, 4 upon 7, 0. So you get x3 is equal to 0, x2 you can find, x1 you can find. Right? So you get 2 upon 3 and minus 1/3. Right, so this is how you solve the system by using Gaussian elimination with pivoting. Right? So with partial pivoting, this is what you do. Right? So you convert the system into PA is equal to LU and then solve it by using the PA is equal to LU factorization. Again, you divide this into two systems. One is a lower triangular system and the other one is an upper triangular system. Right? So these are two types of factorizations which we study, and two types of elimination: Gaussian elimination, and that leads to A is equal to LU factorization, and then Gaussian elimination with pivoting, that leads to PA is equal to LU factorization. So in PA is equal to LU factorization, you have to be careful with the way you choose L, right? So whatever the row operations you apply, you may need to apply that for the lower triangular matrix L as well, right? So you have to be careful with that. Right. So this is how you solve the system of linear equations by using elimination or factorization methods. Okay. Now, after seeing this, what we are going to do is we are going to revisit to the types of solutions. Right, so eliminations and types of solutions. And so you know that given right, so you see that this is what basically we do, right? So we convert this system Ax equal to B into a new system Ux is equal to C, right? So from Ax equal to B, you transform the system into some system like Ax equal to B, right? So in this case, you know that, but there are three types of solutions. So how this system look like will tell you what type of solution you are going to have from the system, right? right? So this pattern, right, of ux is equal to c will help you to determine the type of solution, right? So in particular, right? So if the number of non-zero rows in U is same as number of equations, then the system has a unique solution, right? So this is an example. Right, so if you have a system like this, if you when you convert the system ax equal to b, if you ended up with a system like this, you know that there are 3 rows, right? And it is same as number of non-zero rows is also 3, right? So this one is a non-zero row, this one is a non-zero row. So this has unique solution, exactly one solution. You can find the solution, it is 1 1 1, right? Similarly, this one is also same, 1 1 1 0 1 minus 1 0 0 5. So this is x1 x2 x3, right? 4 1 0. So this one is also fine. This will also give you unique solution, right? Because this has 3 equations, right? 3 unknowns, but the number of non-zero rows in the system is 1 2 3. So 3 equations. Whether you have 0 here or not is not a problem, right? So only thing is you have to see whether you have non-zero rows, how many non-zero rows you have in this system, right? So in the upper triangular system, if you see that, and that if that is equal to the number of equations or number of unknowns, right? So then clearly you can say that this system has a unique solution. So I can say number of unknowns, so that is easy for you know. That's on if the equation number of rows is equal to non-zero rows is equal to number of unknowns, then we say that we have a unique solution. Similarly, in the next class, we are going to see similar type of conditions for other 2 types of solution, right? You know, other 2 types are infinitely many solutions and no solution. So in the next class, we will see what are the requirements we should have for the upper triangular system to have infinitely many solutions and no solutions, right? So we will talk about that in the next class.